Are you looking to sharpen your budgeting skills? You're in the right place. Welcome to the Budget Couple Podcast, where we talk about life, family, and how to afford it. And now, the Budget Couple themselves, Nate and Danielle.
Welcome to the Budget Couple Podcast. I'm Nate, and Danielle's actually not joining me this week. She's not feeling very well, so I'm going to go ahead and carry on without her, but we went over what we're going to talk about here today. I also apologize if you hear any snoring. There's a dog currently keeping my feet warm in the basement, and she's a little tired, so you might hear a couple snores from a dog or the occasional bark while she's dreaming and kicking her feet. So I apologize for that ahead of time. But what we're going to be talking about today is where we're at with our budget. It's been a while since we've talked about us and our budget and kind of where we've been at and what our goals are. So I want to touch base on those things again. And I want to thank you for everybody who's sent in questions. We are going to be answering them in future episodes. It's just we wanted to kind of pull it back this week and get back to where we're at, just so you have an idea of where we're going, what our goals are, and kind of what we've done in the past few months. So think of this as just like quarterly update. We're in the 4th month of the year now. So first 3 months are done. And we want to give you an update of what we did during those months. So we're going through here, and our income has not changed, and our budget really has not changed. So far, 2019 has really been a great year for our budget. We've largely stayed on expenses. We've largely stayed exactly inside of our budget. We really haven't overspent on anything other than we just bought some concert tickets for a band that we love since college, and they're local to our area, and we go every year, and just happen to pop up for a pre-sale, so we bought it. But that's going to be made up on next month's budget, so even though we went over this month, we'll make it up next month, and it will even out. And that's one of the nice things about having the budget is that you can kind of plan for those things, and as long as you stick to it, it's okay to do that occasionally, and we do. So let's talk about some of the other areas where we've made movement in our finances, because our budget, luckily right now, has really been working for us. We've really, over the past, I'd say 6 months or so, really tweaked things and changed things up to try to get it to work better for us. If you've been a long-time listener, you'll know that the budget that we had wasn't doing the exact job that we needed it to, and we almost never hit our targets. But we've done some tweaks, and we've hit it 3 months in a row, which is a good sign, and I don't expect it to stop anytime soon. So let's talk to you about where the things that we're moving have moved and what we've done. We planned on the absolute worst thing that could happen with taxes, where we'd owe a ton of money, and because of that, we put a lot of money away for taxes, because we honestly just didn't know what the tax plan was going to look like, how it was going to impact us. Luckily, it didn't kill us. We did owe money, which we almost always do, and I'd rather owe money than get money back, because that just means you gave the government an interest-free loan, as opposed to you getting to keep money interest-free and then just paying it back to the government. I'd rather owe money, but that's just a separate conversation. But we had extra money left over that we had in our savings account because we did not owe as much in taxes as we thought we might. So what we did is we took all of that extra money and we put it onto our second mortgage. If you remember, back in July of last year, we took out a $30,000 loan on our house, and that was to redo our kitchen, which we love, and our bathroom, which we kind of like. We wish we would have done a few things different, but that's okay. As of today, from that $30,000 loan, we have $6,110.98 left to pay off that debt. So in the past several months, we've made some very significant progress towards doing that. Our original goal, or should I say my original goal at the beginning of the year, was to have that paid off by December or so, and it looks like we're going to be able to pay that off here by about June, if that's kind of where we're at as far as our goal. So that's really nice, because at the end of June, I'm a teacher. I only get paid for 10 months of the year. So having an extra $600 monthly payment that we have to pay out, and that's what our second mortgage costs us every month, is $600. If we can not have to spend that money every month as a requirement, that would be very helpful in long-term and short-term planning. So our goal is to have it paid off by the time my paychecks stop, so that we don't have that to deal with. And that's an average of about $2,000 over the next 3 months or so, maybe like $1,500 somewhere in there. And with our budget, that should be a possibility as long as we hit our numbers and stay on target with everything. As far as our house goes, our house payment is down, or what we have left of our house is down to $270,000. When we started the year, it was not far off of that, unfortunately. Our mortgage payment is $1,700 a month, and only $500 of that roughly goes towards principal. The other parts go towards interest, our escrow account, which pays for taxes, and home insurance. So we're not really making a ton of progress on that, and that's unfortunate, but we have a plan to go through and work towards that. As far as our car goes, we have an electric car. We have about $12,000 left on it, and it's on a 0% interest loan. So we pay what we owe each month on that and not a dollar more because it's interest-free money, and there's really no reason to put extra down on it. If we're able to make all of our other bills and do other things with our money, we'd rather put it somewhere else than on something that is 0% interest. We also had a Best Buy credit card that, in all honesty, is mainly just used to buy me gadgets, and we've been able to pay that off. I work on selling online courses to teach adult learners different things. In addition to me being a regular teacher, I also teach online courses, and I've had a couple of successful last few months here, which has allowed me to go through and pay down the things that I like to buy for myself. The only problem is most of the things I buy go right back in towards making online courses, so it's kind of a vicious cycle. But for the most part, and for almost everything that we've done here, I've been able to kind of balance the two together. So whatever I make, I generally spend. And it works out because I get to play with toys that I like, and I get to use them to create things that I like, and then I get paid to make those things. So it works out really nicely, but it's a really fun thing for me to do, and I'm happy that we were able to take that debt that was out there. It's only about $400 or so that was left on it, but we were able to take it and over the last couple of months totally get rid of that, and I'm very thankful that that's been an option for me. As far as our Roth contributions go, this last month we just finished up the last contributions that we had for 2018. You can use your 2018 money up until, I believe, April of each year of the next year. So you can kind of go up until tax time and still make contributions for the previous year if you didn't hit the maximums. And we try to make sure we hit the maximums every year. Since we've been going through and doing the Roths, we've made the maximum, which used to be $5,500, but now in 2019, they've upped it to $6,000 per year. So what that means is from now on, each paycheck that I get, or should I say each month, I'm going to be putting $600 a month into my Roth because I'm a 10-month employee, and that's what $6,000 divided by 10 is $600. And then Danielle's going to be putting $500 a month because she's a 12-month employee, so she doesn't have to put it in quite as much because she has 2 extra months to make up that money. So that's where we're going to be at with our Roth. Nothing big deal there. Nothing's really changed on that other than increasing it slightly. It goes up by about $50 a month to cover everything. And then we're also discussing raising Danielle's 401k contributions. It's not something that we've gone really crazy with or really haven't done much with right now. And that's mainly because our focus has been going and paying down the second mortgage as much as possible. So eventually, once we get that paid off, we will be focusing on putting more money towards Danielle's 401k, but it's not one of our primary focuses, quite honestly. And there's a couple of reasons for that. In our last episode, we talked a little bit about that, but I want to go over a little bit more of the thought process of what we're doing and where we're at. But that is our finances in a snapshot. We have a decent amount of money, a lot of money left on our house. Our car's fine. It's at 0%. We're working towards paying off our second mortgage, and most of our other debts are gone, and we've been able to stick on to our budget for the past 3 months straight with no problems. So we feel like we're in a good spot. I'm actually incredibly energized that there's only roughly $6,100 left on our second mortgage. That makes me feel really good and excited. And what I found, and Danielle will back this up, even though she's not here, she backs it up. What we found is that when you see movement being made on any debt that you're paying down, no matter how large or small, but when you see those numbers significantly dropping, when I'm talking like $30,000 and we got it down to $6,000, that's big movement. And what that does is it really focuses you on wanting to get rid of whatever the debt is and just get it out of your life. Because that's one of my primary goals, and Danielle's as well, is to get debt out of our lives as quickly as possible. So we've seen a lot of movement on our second mortgage. And as I said before, our original goal was to pay it off by roughly December of 2019. And we should be able to take care of it entirely by June, which is a full 6 months ahead of schedule. And this is a 5-year loan, and we're going to pay it off in roughly 10 months or so, or 11 months, I guess. So we did a good job as far as that's concerned, but again, it's because of the focus that we had. We wanted to put money down on it. We wanted to get rid of it. And that focus allowed us to go through and take care of it fully. Now, I want to also talk about what we're going to do with that extra money, because once we have that second mortgage gone, we're going to have a minimum of $600 available to us that we didn't have before because it was committed to that second mortgage. So here's my thinking on it, and let me know if this makes sense to you or not through giving us some feedback here. But if we have $600 that is extra and we add that to what we're currently putting on principal on our house, which is about $500, that means we're going to be able to put roughly an extra $13,000 down on the house each year. So between what our required monthly mortgage is and the extra that we can put down because we don't have the second mortgage, we're putting a total of $13,000 down on principal on the house each year. Now that number will grow over time because the more you pay off your house, the more that goes into principal. But for right now, we're just going to use that safe, solid number. We have $270,000 left on our house. So if I take that $270,000 and divide it by $13,000 that we're putting on principal each year, we get about 20 years to pay off our house, which means we finished our 30-year mortgage roughly about 8 years ahead of time, which is exciting. And that's not counting any increases in extra income that might happen to us. And it also goes through and doesn't talk about any extra that we're able to put on the house, because we're able to put more than $600. We can commit a little bit more than that. So we're able to actually go through. Our current sights are set on paying off this house in the next 10 to 12 years. Now, that's a really lofty goal. It may or may not happen. But again, when you start seeing significant progress being made, it goes ahead and really motivates you. So while we're going to eliminate this one debt here within the next few months, we have a much larger shark out there that we really want to take care of. And that's our house. And that's the goal for it, is the next 10 to 12 years. It's going to be a grind. It's going to take us some time. But if we plan and do things properly and stick to our budget, it's an entirely attainable goal that we both really, really want to take care of. Now, we've said before that our goal is to enjoy the freedom of not having a house payment. And we put about 15%-ish of our income into retirement already. We could increase that number drastically and not pay off the house, but the problem with that is we can't touch that money until we retire. So what do we do in the meantime? And what we've kind of come to the conclusion of is that we want to pay off that house as quickly as possible. The reason for that is we're already putting more than enough that we need into retirement. There's no point in retiring with millions and millions and millions of dollars if you're too old or not able to enjoy it. So instead of doing that, we're going to enjoy a few $1,000,000 if we did our math right. But what we're really looking at is being able to go through and not have a committed monthly payment larger than just a few $100s for utilities and things like that. So that's kind of where we're at. And when I say we're going to be millionaires, I'm not saying that because we make a ton of money, because we don't. But what I'm saying is that we take money each month and put it into a Roth IRA, and just basic math tells you that you're going to be able to be a millionaire. It's just real simple math if you're questioning me here at all. If you take $100 a month from the time you're 18 all the way up to retirement age and put it into a Roth IRA at a good return rate, you will be a millionaire. So putting just $100 a month from when you start working till when you end working over that lifespan will earn you roughly $1 million. So that's something to consider when you're looking at retirement savings and going through and doing those things. Is you can absolutely be a millionaire. You just really need to budget and figure out where you can pull that money from. A couple other things that I want to recap here, because we talked about goal setting at the beginning of the year, and I want to kind of do what our goals are as far as the first quarter. Now we have a little bit more lens on things. Our first short-term goal is to make sure that our budget is working for us. And right now it is. We may have to do some more tweaks down the line, but right now it is 100% working for us. We're very happy with where we're at in our budget. Our second plan, or our midterm goal, is to pay off our second mortgage. So we have a short-term goal of making sure our budget is correct every month. Our midterm goal, which is a few months out, is just to be able to pay off our second mortgage. And then our long-term goal is to be able to pay off our house entirely. So hopefully that's 10 to 12 years away. I would love for it to be sooner, but that's kind of where we're at goal-wise right now. Now, having goals that require different lengths and ability levels is important because it really helps us be able to focus where we want to put our money and where we really want to focus our goals. If our long-term goal is to pay off our house, we're not going to take an exotic vacation because it's not going to help us get to our goal. Or if our goal is super unobtainable, it might encourage us to take a vacation because that goal is just not going to be able to be hit. So having goals at different ability levels where, yes, I can do this, maybe I can do this, or no, I definitely can't do this, are all important. But we like to have a mix of things where we have something that's definitely attainable that we can do, like sticking on budget is something we can definitely do. Having something where we can most likely achieve it, where we have our midterm goal where we're going to be able to do that, but we hope to do it by June. And then a long-term goal of 10 to 12 years of paying off our house, where I'm not sure we can do it, but if we focus ourselves and have that goal in sight, we should be able to put our minds to work and be able to do it. So that's going to wrap it up for this episode. I apologize for talking by myself here for so long, but I did want to give you an update of where our budget's at and what our focus is like for the upcoming months. And I'll give you updates, and by I mean Danielle and I will give you updates on where we're at with things and what we're looking at. But for right now, that's where we're at, and that's what we feel comfortable with. And we discussed this entire episode ahead of time, so I'm not saying any words that Danielle wouldn't approve of. This is everything that we've talked about, and we're both incredibly excited about where we're heading and what we want to do. But if you have any questions that we can help you with your budget or setting goals or anything like that at all, please shoot us an email. All you have to do is go to budgetcouple.com, click on the contact form, and the email comes right to me. I get an update, and then we'll be able to answer your question live here on the digital airwaves. So if you have any questions, let us know. Otherwise, have a fantastic day, and we'll see you in our next episode. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Budget Couple Podcast with your hosts, Nate and Danielle. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit budgetcouple.com. Make sure to check out the next episode of the Budget Couple Podcast, where we'll talk more about life, family, and how to afford it. We'll catch you next time.